welcome to this percentage company demonstration for the percentage app integration between Cloudbeds PMS and Quickbooks Online accounting. My name's Edward and I'll walk you through the whole process. So let's get started. To register the percentage app, visit our website, thepercentageapp.com. Click on Get the App button at the top right hand corner. And then we simply need to fill the form. Once all the details submitted, the system will automatically create your account for you and send you emails with the next processes and the follow-ups. Step 1 is to fill which app you are wanting to connect. So if it was to be, for example, Cloudbeds to QuickBooks, we would select that at the top here. We would select the type of property you have, a hotel, hostel, or a villa project. We would enter the name of the hotel here. We would enter the number of rooms. We can also indicate here if the accounts are already set up for Cloudbeds and Xero or QuickBooks. And then we just fill in the right-hand side all the details relating to your personal account. So your phone number, email, the country, the time zone. And then simply, once it's all filled out, we just accept the terms and sign up. Shortly after filling this form, you'll receive an email with next steps to get your account up and running. Once your registration is complete and you followed all the steps within the email, you'll be given your login details where you can set your username and password, and then you can log in at admin.thepercentageapp.com. Once you log in, you'll see your account. In the top right hand corner, you'll see your username. And across the left hand side, you'll see the two key elements for your QuickBooks to Cloudbeds integration. On the left hand side, we've got Cloudbeds PMS. This relates to all the functions that we receive from and information we receive from Cloudbeds. And likewise, the QuickBooks accounting relates to all the functions to do with connecting to QuickBooks Online. So the next part of the setup is to connect your QuickBooks Online account to the Percentage app. With QuickBooks open in a separate tab in the same browser window, you can go to click QuickBooks Accounting on the left-hand side and then click this QuickBooks Connection button here. We can see it now shows disconnected. So we just want to connect by clicking this button here. Here you'll see the authorization page allowing the Percentage app to connect to QuickBooks Online. Once the connection's been established, you'll be automatically redirected back to the mapping page. Now that we have QuickBooks and Cloudbeds connected, we can then go to the mapping page and we can set up and tell the system where to send all your transactions each day. The mapping page has 7 tabs across the top. If we start left to right with General Settings, you'll see the first option is a prefix. So when the system generates journal entries, we recommend to have a prefix just so that you can see which journal entries are coming from which source. So in this case, we've just put CB for Cloudbeds. You can also use a suffix if you prefer, but we recommend using the prefix if you can. The next one, option down, is house accounts. So if you do use house accounts in Cloudbeds, you can choose whether or not to include them in your accounting postings by toggling this button left and right. You can also choose whether you wish to show payment details. So the system is able to post the payments by individual reservation, or could just group them together under the payment method, credit card or MasterCard or Visa or cash, etc. Further down the page, we have the guest ledger. So this should be an accounts receivable GL account. So we've created a GL account, accounts receivable GL account in Quickbooks Online called guest ledger. So this is the difference between revenue and payments. So in effect, it's the revenue you haven't yet received, but you have earned. So guest in-house, things like that. This is essential. This is required to post your journal entries, as is a guest account or a customer. You can also create a customer. We created an example called hotel guests. You can create something similar to set up your account. Further down, we've got the room revenue account. So this is quite self-explanatory. This is the room revenue where you want to send your daily room revenues. This is the GL account you wish to send that. You can also use room revenue classes, a class in QuickBooks if you wish, but that's optional. As is the base currency, multi-currency option. You can leave this blank unless you are using multi-currency. And the track by location. This is useful if you have multi-properties connected to a single QuickBooks account. You can then choose to track by location to separate between your different properties. Okay, next we move on to tab number 2, items and services. This is where we map all your items and services from your Cloudbeds account to your Quickbooks Online account. On the left-hand side, we've got all your items. On the right-hand side, all your QuickBooks GL accounts. And on the furthermost right-hand side, we've got QuickBooks Class. If you wish to use Class, you can, but it's not essential. At the top, you'll see a small heading here saying items not mapped. So what this means that if you have any new items or services in Cloudbeds and the system doesn't know where to send those revenues, it will highlight them at the top in pink. So we need to tell the system where to send those revenues every time you use them in your QuickBooks account. So I've pre-mapped some of these, leaving 4 still available. So to map those final 4 items and services, we can simply scroll down to the bottom, add a new line, select one of the 4 things we need to map. So in this case, private car. So that might go to a transportation GL account, for example. I add one more. Singer beer will most likely go to a beverage account of some type. F&B bar beverage. We have T-bone steak, so that will be a food GL account. And then finally, Thai massage will most likely go to a spa treatment account, for example. Once you've mapped those, you can click Save. And then we'll see a green bar at the top showing that there's no unselected items. For the mapping, you can select, depending on the level of granularity you want to see in your accounting system, you can either map them to a few GL accounts, so you get a lot more summarized information, or you can map each one to an individual GL account. It's completely up to you and how you want to see your P&L report at the end of the day, the week, the month. Okay, now that the items and services are mapped, we can then move on to the taxes and fees tab, number 3. I've pre-mapped some of the taxes already, but as you'll see, it's the same format as the previous items and services tab. You have taxes and fees from Cloudbeds, populated from your Cloudbeds account, and you've got your QuickBooks GL account where you wish to send your taxes, and again, the QuickBooks class, which is an optional field shown in white as opposed to the compulsory ones shown in yellow. Once again, you'll see the top, we have taxes and fees not mapped. So this is indicating that there's one more tax that needs to be given a mapping. We need to tell the system where to send that tax. So I've pre-mapped 3 of them. As you can see, we could have mapped them all to the same GL account, but in this case, I've selected 3 different ones as an example. We just add one more line, we select VAT, and we tell the system where to send that tax in your QuickBooks account. We can then move on to the payment type. At the top here, we can select QuickBooks accounts for voided transactions. These are required if transactions are voided, but there's no mapping still available. So this is a default option to send your voided transactions if there's no mapping available. Further down the page, we have the same payment types not mapped. So I've mapped some of them already. We have 4 remaining. So once again, they're showing in red to indicate that they're not mapped. So I can go to the bottom here, add the cash, and find the equivalent GL account where I wish to send my accounts receivable credit payment types. So Agoda, this might be a city ledger perhaps. You may wish to split the city ledger by each agent to help you keep track of any payments to receive from each agent. But if not, you can have one city ledger. Stripe, for example, might be a clearing account. Once again, if you have splits for Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and so on, maybe you would want to select one of these. But if not, once again, we could put it to a clearing account. And finally, City Ledger, we would just map, as I said before, to a City Ledger account. Once again, you can select the vendor and the class from your QuickBooks account, but once again, not essential. Okay, next we move on to section 5, credit card types. So at the top here, you can select a generic credit card if you haven't selected the specific credit card type in Cloudbeds. This is where we will send those credit card charges. But if you do specify a credit card type for every payment, or every credit card payment, you'll see here at the top we have unmapped credit cards. I've mapped one of them already. So once again, we have the red ones that are unmapped. So here I would select Visa, and then I would search for a Visa clearing account we've created in QuickBooks. Then we do MasterCard. And then we do American Express. And then we'll see that at the top we have the green bar to confirm that everything is mapped. Here we might want to select a credit card clearing account as well. The vendor and the class is also optional, so you can ignore that one. if you don't use those in your QuickBooks account. Next, we move on to the mapping of add-ons, tab 6. So if you do sell add-ons by Cloudbeds, you can also map a GL account here. In this case, I'll just select rooms miscellaneous, but you can select any GL account that's relevant, and then once again you can use the class if you wish to. The final tab is an optional tab, so this, instead of sending all of your room revenue to your room accommodation account identified here, this instead allows you to map each of your rooms to an individual account. So you'll be able to see in the reports the revenue, room revenue from each individual unit in your account. To do this, you would have to have a separate GL account for each room or room type, however you want to map that. But this is optional and not required. It's completely up to how you wish to map your accounts. Okay, once you've finished your mapping and you've saved your changes, we can then go to QuickBooks Accounting on the left and preview and post journals manually. So there's two ways to post journal entries to your QuickBooks account. You can either preview and post them manually one by one, day by day, or you can use the automatic posting button. So I'll show you how to set up the automatic posting in a moment, but first let's preview the journal entries to see what they look like. So at the top here we have a date box, so we can select a date. I know in our demo account we have a few transactions on this date, so I can just select the date and click Run. If you want to preview with split payments, so you show a different payment line for each individual reservation, you can just click this box here. But if not, we can just leave it blank and you can click the Run button. So in the box below is where you see an example of the journal entry that will be sent to your QuickBooks account. So here you have the green button to post it to QuickBooks. You can download it as a PDF, you can download it as Excel, or you can print as required. In the actual journal entry itself, you've got all the room revenues combined from your Cloudbeds account for that specific day. Then you've got all the taxes accrued during that period. And then you've got the guest ledger amount. There's no payments in this day in this case, so it's showing you a guest ledger, which is revenue that you've earned during that day, the total of these two. And because you haven't received a payment for that yet, it goes to the guest ledger instead. Once you're happy with the journal entry, we can then go to click Post Journal to QuickBooks. After a few moments, it can take a few seconds depending on how many transactions you have on that date, but you will see a Post Success button to confirm it's been sent. If we then go to our QuickBooks account here, I'll just refresh the page. In our audit log here, it will show that the journal has been posted, and we can click to see the details of that. We have a copy of that. We have our prefix, we have the date, we have our 3-line journal entry. Obviously, for full operation hotels, you might have lots more lines, lots more spa revenue, or all kinds of different hotel revenue and payments and taxes. But in this demo, we only have a small journal entry here. We also post in the memo a little bit of information about who it was posted by and the purpose for the journal entry. If we then go to our reports here. And we navigate to our profit and loss. And we select the date range. So we posted on the 26th of August. And you can see here is our room accommodation. Depending on what is posted, you'll see more lines, obviously. This is just a preview of our demo case. Okay, next, now that we've been able to post a journal entry, next we need to automate the process. So we go back to the percentage app, click on QuickBooks Accounting, and then QuickBooks Auto Posting. First, we need to slide this button to active, and then the next button also to active, where we can send the journal posting notification. So this means every time a journal is posted, this person will receive an email to tell them that it has been done. Further down the page, we have the posting time. So this is important that the posting is done sometime after midnight. So your room revenues will be posted in Cloudbeds at around 11:59 p.m. So we just need to make sure that the posting time is scheduled for something around 3 o'clock, let's say between 1 and 9 a.m. the following day. So we would, if I was setting up for today, I would select 11, which is tomorrow. Today is the 10th. We would then select, in this case, I'm going to select 5 a.m. I select the email that I want to receive the errors. If there's a system error, this person will receive an email. And then if you want a summary report as well, you can add that here. So if you want more than one person, you can just add a comma and then add the next email as well. For the posting time of this report, you can select whatever time you'd like, but we have to make sure that if I navigate to October, then we have to make sure that this is after the posting time. So if this is 5 a.m., for example, you might want to set this report to be distributed at 6, just to make sure that the revenues posted is included in this report. Once you're happy with the settings, we just click Save, and we're ready to go. Last but not least, if you have any problems with your setup, please do submit open a new case with our team by clicking here and filling the form. Providing the details and the details of the product you're using, and then the description or any attachments. And our specialist team will come back to you. And alternatively, you'll also find a help menu here where you can read more about the system, all the functions, and some advice from our accounting experts as well. Thank you for using the Percentage app, and feel free to reach out if you have any problems getting up and running with the Percentage app.